Hello, everyone, and welcome to another insightful episode of Tourism Insight with Mr. Horecan. I am Mr. Horecan. On today's episode, I want to talk about something. I want to talk about something incredibly important. Today, I'm going to be talking about how tourism could be a very powerful force for good. You see, we all have an innate desire to travel, to explore new places and cultures, visit friends and families, and seek out new experiences, making us all travelers at heart, lovers of tourism. But as we embark on each journey, I want us to pause and reflect for a while. Do we truly understand the extent to which tourism could impact the global fight against poverty and inequality? Do we? Because over the last few decades, global tourism efforts on sustainability have given the environment, gender equality, and how we can reduce our carbon footprint great deal of priorities and with commendable results achieved. However, here is the hard truth, and where injustice sits at the very heart of modern civilization. Sustainability is framed around protecting the environment. Yes, and that should include protecting everything within its biodiversity. And that includes us humans, I should presume. That said, is it truly possible to achieve global sustainability goals with the current rate of poverty, hunger, and inequality that is ravaging the world today? Is it truly possible? How possible? Come to think of it, the main reason why the environment needs protecting in the first place will be from exploitations, from biodiversity loss, from pollution, deforestation, and resource depletion. Now, if these are correct, then we must ask ourselves the hard question: who are we protecting the environment for? Because understanding who we're protecting the environment for will help us keep our priorities right. We are protecting the environment for us humans, I should presume, because all sustainability efforts are based on the premise of protecting the environment for us humans, for our children, for our children's children. We are protecting the environment for future generations. That means there can't be any meaningful sustainability without the full participation and inclusion of humanity. Therefore, sustainability must go beyond forest and ocean reservations to addressing food on the table. It must address dignity in labor, access to opportunities, and equitable distribution of wealth. After all, what does it truly profit us if we succeed in protecting the environment but allow humanity to suffer to death? What must have we truly achieved? Maybe a decarbonized world, a world with very, very hungry children, hungry and starving children. And these are the children of the local poor guards, the local hotel housekeeper, the local restaurant waiter, the local taxi driver, the air hostesses, whose roles are invaluable in the entire tourism journey. Isn't that an irony? It's January 2025. While many will wake up in joy and abundance, there are millions out there very, very hungry and without any food to eat. They will go about their lives as usual. And what is usual for these guys? One without food to eat every single day. And tragically, many of them are women and children. For these women and children is yet another year of hopelessness. Yes, hopelessness. Now, here is the irony. These same poor people living in these poor local communities, battling with poverty and hunger, are often the ones living closest to nature. They are the ones upon whom global environmental conservation depends on the most. Yet, while these local communities struggle to meet up with daily living, global tourism corporations are reporting record-breaking profits. And we are trying to sell environmental conservation to these same poor people. Isn't that a hard sell? For these people, the only thing that needs sustaining will be their stomach. They need to protect their existence. Their focus will be on how to stay alive. It will be practically impossible to sell any meaningful sustainability with a very, very hungry person. I believe it's an impossible sell. Now, here is the paradox. The very poor people, the very people who make tourism come to life, I'm talking about the waiters, the hotel housekeepers, you name them. They will often return home after a hard day's work to profound hardship, to very hungry families. According to data from the United Nations and the World Bank, nearly 2.4 billion people, representing about 30% of the global population, experienced moderate to severe food insecurity in 2023. And within that same year, 735 million people, representing about 9.2% of humanity, suffered chronic hunger. And the future projections don't even look kinder to us. Because by 2030, projections also show that over 600 million people may still face hunger. Guys, this isn't just a humanitarian crisis, it's a moral contradiction in a world that generates trillions of dollars in annual global tourism revenues. It's an indictment to global civilization. In Nigeria, the world's most populous black nation, a country of well over 200 million people, a serious humanitarian crisis is looming. In Nigeria, poverty surged to 46% in 2023, pushing well over 104 million people deeper into hardship. Deeper, it says. The official minimum wage in Nigeria is 70,000, and that is about $1.15 per day, far below the international poverty line of $2.15 per day. And that's just the beginning of the paradox. This statistic simply shows that even those with jobs in Nigeria are underpaid and underprotected, and can be said to be underemployed, trapped in a system where hard work doesn't even guarantee survival. It's a tragedy. Now, experts have warned that without urgent and inclusive reforms, poverty will worsen, inequality will deepen, and hunger will become even more entrenched. And this Nigerian situation is common around the world today, especially in developing countries, and calls for urgent action. Tourism can't just ignore these realities. We simply can't. These statistics are human lives. They're real people. The very people who form the bedrock of our tourism experiences. Yet in global tourism conservation, their struggles are often forgotten. How did we get here? How? Sustainability can't be reduced to just gaining carbon credits and making climate pledges. It must mean human sustainability also. It must include responsibility to humanity. It must include responsibility to the very core people who make our tourism thrive. It must place humanity at the core of its policies and implementation. Well, amid sad realities are some good news. Everybody loves good news. And the good news here is that tourism does hold transformative powers. Tourism is not just about sightseeing anymore. It's a global force. A system of movement. One that holds so much resources, power, and influence. Tourism has the power to uplift, to empower, and to include. And that's where a new development-oriented approach to tourism steps in. To mitigate hunger, to reduce poverty, and to address even distribution of wealth. And this growing phenomenon is called pro-poor tourism. I have seen tourism make impact. I have seen tourism touch lives positively, but never in human history have the tourism industry been more direct at uplifting the lives of millions of people out of poverty than in the last 10 years. In the last 10 years, when the concept of pro-poor tourism started gaining popularity and the tourism industry started shining its light on the very poor communities that host our favorite tourism destinations across the globe. It is within this period that the tourism industry started including these marginalized local communities into the tourism value chain as benefactors. Some of you must have heard the term before, pro-poor tourism, while some of you may just be hearing it for the very first time. Let me break it down to you. Pro-poor tourism, or PPT, is a tourism development model and policy approach. One that focuses on delivering tourism net benefits to the poor. It aims to use tourism not just for economic growth, but as a tool for poverty alleviation, social inclusion, and equitable development. Pro-poor tourism is not a charity. It's a strategy. It's one not built on sympathy, but on equity, empowerment, and inclusion. Unlike traditional form of tourism that channels profit to the top, pro-poor tourism puts poverty alleviation, poverty reduction at the center of tourism policy planning and investment. And this growing phenomenon is changing the way we view tourism globally. It's transforming tourism from just being extractive to being inclusive, where local people are co-creators and direct beneficiaries of the tourism value chain. At the core of its activities will be creating decent jobs for the poor, supporting locally owned businesses, sharing profit transparently, and elevating marginalized local voices in the tourism decision-making. When implemented with integrity, PPT restores hope, it restores dignity and local ownership. And it has worked in many places. In Nepal, for example, sustainable tourism under the PPT model has alleviated poverty in rural communities, strengthened local economies, and preserved cultural heritages and identity. And it's been a very huge success. However, pro-poor tourism does come with its own challenges. Challenges like corruption, instability, weak governance, they all do persist. And that is why pro-poor tourism must be built on collaboration, community ownership, and transparent governance. If COVID-19 did teach us one lesson loud and clear, it will be that our tourism models must be resilient, inclusive, and people-centered. Inclusive. Building better post-COVID-19 isn't just about bouncing back financially. It's about rebuilding strategically to avoid the mistakes of the past. It's about rebalancing profit and people, rebalancing growth and dignity. It's about rebalancing sustainability and human survival. Because protecting the forest while allowing famine and hunger is not sustainability anymore, it's hypocrisy. And that brings me to the crux of the day. So what now? What now will be that tourism already generates billions in revenue, moves millions of people around, and shapes the world economy to a very large extent, and surely can be used as a tool for poverty alleviation, empowerment, and transformation of local communities. And that's why pro-poor tourism must take center stage in today's global tourism recovery. Has tourism forgotten the poor? You see, why global tourism thrives? Many who make it happen are trapped in poverty and hunger. While environmental sustainability is vital, we seem to have overlooked the equally critical dimension of human sustainability. And this is a profound injustice. Those closest to nature, crucial for our conservations, are often the ones most deprived. It's time for a revolution. It's time for a revolution in tourism, and pro-poor tourism must remain the center pillar of global tourism recovery. We have to ensure that tourism remembers its forgotten hosts. Become a true champion against poverty and inequality. Join us in advocating for pro-poor tourism, because a truly sustainable world is one where everybody thrives. I am therefore calling on all my colleagues in the hospitality and tourism industry. Be you an industry expert or professional, an operator or an investor, government and non-governmental entities, students and academia, individuals or group tourists, and all you travelers at heart. The next time you embark on any tourism journey, make sure to choose responsible and sustainable tourism. Endeavor to choose travels and tours that put local communities at the center of its tourism activities. If this interests you and you truly want to get involved, please feel free to join us on our tourism advocacy groups on LinkedIn, Facebook, and TikTok. It's a space for collaborations and trainings and practical actions. Together, we can use the power and influence of tourism to change lives. Be part of a global community of purpose-driven tourism. Let's build an industry that works for us all, guests and hosts alike. It's Tourism Insight with Mr. Horecan. And I am Mr. Horecan.